All right, the next section in chapter 2 is solving compound inequalities. So what is a compound inequality? Compound inequality is made up of two inequalities and connected by the word and or the word or. So here we've got two examples. So we have x plus 3 greater than negative 4 and 4x minus 5 less than or equal to 3. And the other example is 2 times y plus 1 is less than 0, or y minus 5 is greater than or equal to negative 2. To solve a compound inequality with and, look for all numbers that make both inequalities true. Again, if you see the word and, you want to look to see where both inequalities are true. And to solve a compound inequality with or, look for all numbers that make either inequality true. So with the word or, you want to look for cases where either inequality is true, not both. So to kind of help you wrap your brain around this concept of and or. So imagine you haven't had a hamburger for a long time. One day you crave a hamburger. Okay, here's an and scenario. So to satisfy the craving, the hamburger must have tomatoes and onions. Must have tomatoes and onions. If the restaurant is out of tomatoes, then you will not get a hamburger. If the restaurant is out of onions, then you will not get a hamburger. So the hamburger must come with tomatoes and onions for it to solve your craving. So you have a delicious hamburger that looks like that with tomatoes and onions. Tomatoes and onions. Okay, so here's an or scenario. So to satisfy the craving, the hamburger must have tomatoes or onions. So if the restaurant is out of tomatoes, then you'll still get the hamburger because it's tomatoes or onions. If the restaurant is out of onions, then you'll also get the hamburger. So the hamburger can come with either tomatoes or onions for it to solve your craving. So you'd be happy to get this hamburger, even though it has no tomatoes, but it does have onions. And you'd be happy to get this hamburger because even though it's missing onions, it still has tomatoes. So you're okay with getting tomatoes or onions, so you'll still get a hamburger. So you see the difference here between and or.